Have you ever felt a connection so profound that it defied all logical explanation? A bond so intense that it seemed to transcend ordinary concepts of love and attachment. If you're nodding your head, you might be familiar with the term twin flames. But here's the million-dollar question that's been stirring up debate in both spiritual and psychological circles. Are people who believe in twin flames really just experiencing an elaborate form of unrequited love? You know what? It's a fair question. In today's world, where heartbreak and romantic disappointment are all too common, it's tempting to dismiss the entire concept of twin flames as just another way to rationalize one-sided attractions or unsuccessful relationships. And let's be honest, there's no shortage of people who might be using the twin flame label to justify holding on to connections that aren't serving them. But here's where it gets interesting. What if there's more to this story than meets the eye? What if we're dealing with something that can't be neatly categorized into our usual understanding of romantic relationships? Think about it for a moment. While unrequited love typically centers around romantic yearning and the pain of rejection, those who report genuine twin flame experiences often describe something fundamentally different. They talk about profound spiritual awakenings, inexplicable synchronicities, and personal transformations that go far beyond the realm of romantic attachment. And you know what's really fascinating? Many of these people claim they never even knew about the concept of twin flames until after they'd already experienced these unusual phenomena. Through my years of communication with individuals navigating these complex spiritual connections, I've observed patterns that suggest we might be dealing with something more nuanced than simple romantic obsession. Sure, there are cases where people might be misinterpreting their experiences or using spiritual concepts to avoid facing difficult truths. But there are also instances where the depth and impact of these connections seem to operate on a level that our conventional understanding of love and relationships struggles to explain. In this exploration, we're going to dive deep into this intriguing phenomenon. We'll look at what distinguishes genuine twin flame connections from unrequited love, examine why this confusion occurs in the first place, and most importantly, provide practical insights for anyone grappling with these intense experiences. Whether you're a skeptic, a believer, or somewhere in between, I invite you to approach this topic with an open mind. After all, the landscape of human connection is vast and varied, and sometimes the most profound truths lie in the spaces between what we think we know and what we have yet to understand. Ready to unravel this mystery together? Well, let's begin by peeling back the layers of these complex spiritual connections and see what we discover. You know that feeling when you're learning a new language and suddenly you realize that some words just can't be perfectly translated? Well, that's exactly what happens when we try to squeeze the twin flame phenomenon into the familiar box of unrequited love. It's like trying to describe the ocean to someone who's only seen puddles. The vocabulary just isn't quite adequate. In my life, I've witnessed stories of both unrequited love and twin flame connections. And you know what? They're as different as lightning and a lightning bug. Unrequited love is like standing outside someone's window, desperately hoping they'll notice you. But a twin flame connection, it's more like standing in front of a mirror that reflects not just your image, but your soul's deepest truths, both the beautiful and the uncomfortable ones. The unrequited love is as a one-way street. The traffic of emotions flows in a single direction, often creating a pattern of yearning and frustration. But twin flame connections, they're more like a quantum entanglement. Even when particles are separated by vast distances, they remain inexplicably connected, influencing each other in ways that defy our conventional understanding of relationship dynamics. The universe has a way of reflecting back to us exactly what we need to see about ourselves. A person may think for years that they are experiencing unrequited love until she realized that the intense connection she felt wasn't about romantic fulfillment at all. It was about spiritual awakening. You see, unrequited love keeps you focused on what you lack. The attention, affection, or acknowledgement from another person. It's like being stuck in a waiting room, hoping someone will finally call your name. But twin flame connections, they push you toward wholeness, toward understanding that the love you seek has always been within you. Even in separation, there's a profound sense of completion that transcends physical presence. I remember one woman who described her twin flame experience like this. It's as if someone switched on every light in my house at once. Suddenly, I could see all the dusty corners I'd been ignoring, all the renovations needed, but also all the beautiful potential that was always there. And the strangest part? I knew they were experiencing the same illumination in their own way, even though we weren't in contact. Let's be real here. This isn't about romanticizing pain or justifying attachment to unavailable people. True twin flame connections often involve periods of separation, but these separations serve a higher purpose. They're not about pining away for someone who doesn't want you. They're cosmic nudges pushing both individuals toward their highest potential. When you're experiencing a genuine twin flame connection, the focus shifts from getting the other person to understanding yourself more deeply. The connection becomes a catalyst for profound personal transformation, pushing both individuals toward their highest potential, whether they're physically together or apart. Remember this: unrequited love drains you, while true twin flame connections, even in their most challenging moments, fill you with a sense of purpose and understanding that transcends ordinary romantic relationships. It's not about the pain of rejection or the yearning for someone unavailable. It's about recognizing a soul-deep connection that serves as a catalyst for your highest evolution. The journey isn't always easy, but then again, the most profound transformations rarely are. As you navigate these waters, trust your inner wisdom. Your heart knows the difference between the hollow ache of unrequited love and the soul-deep resonance of a true twin flame connection. Listen to it. Sometimes the most profound spiritual awakenings come disguised as love stories. You know those moments when life suddenly stops making sense in the best possible way. That's often how a true twin flame journey begins. It's like being handed a spiritual GPS that you never asked for, pointing you toward destinations you never knew existed within yourself. You see, when you're just crushing on someone, you might change your outfit or your playlist. But when you're experiencing a genuine twin flame awakening, you're changing your entire consciousness. It's like the difference between redecorating your living room and discovering that your house sits on a portal to another dimension. And here's the thing about this growth. It's not optional. Unlike regular relationships where you can choose to remain comfortable in your patterns, twin flame connections are like spiritual boot camps. They push you toward growth with the subtlety of a cosmic bulldozer. You'll find yourself facing your deepest shadows, healing ancestral wounds you didn't even know you carried, and developing spiritual gifts you previously dismissed as nonsense. Regular personal growth is like climbing a mountain, challenging but straightforward. The twin flame journey is like being shot into space. Suddenly, you're dealing with zero gravity, seeing Earth from a completely new perspective, and realizing that everything you thought you knew about navigation needs to be reimagined. You'll start noticing synchronicities everywhere, signs, songs that seem to speak directly to your soul, dreams that feel more real than reality. The universe starts feeling less like a random collection of events and more like an intricately choreographed dance, with you and your twin flame performing some cosmic ballet you never rehearsed but somehow know by heart. One day you're going about your normal life, and the next you're understanding concepts like quantum entanglement on a personal level. You start feeling energy in your hands, knowing things you shouldn't possibly know, and developing an intuition so sharp it could cut through illusion like a hot knife through butter. And the wildest part, this isn't something you're choosing, it's choosing you. Listen, I've witnessed many individuals go through this metamorphosis. Some fight it, some embrace it, but all are transformed by it, because here's the truth. A twin flame connection isn't just about finding your other half, it's about becoming whole yourself. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And yes, sometimes this growth is messy. Sometimes it looks like crying in your car at 3 a.m., or suddenly quitting the job you thought you'd have forever, or finally setting boundaries with people who've been draining your energy for years. But that's the beauty of it. Real spiritual growth isn't about becoming more spiritual. It's about becoming more real. Remember, you didn't choose this path. It chose you. And that's not a burden. It's a blessing. Even when it feels like your world is being turned inside out, know that you're not falling apart. You're finally falling into place. Not every intense connection is a twin flame relationship. And honestly, that's perfectly okay. You see, we're living in an age where social media has turned sacred concepts into trending hashtags. And somewhere between the TikTok tutorials and Instagram infographics, we've started mistaking emotional intensity for spiritual destiny. Here's the raw truth that nobody in the spiritual community wants to talk about. We're all susceptible to romantic projection. It's like having a powerful projector in our hearts that can cast any image we want onto the screen of our relationships. And in this age of spiritual awakening, sometimes we're projecting our deepest spiritual yearnings onto perfectly ordinary human connections. You know what's fascinating? The very people who are actually experiencing genuine twin flame connections are often the last ones to claim it. They're usually too busy dealing with the profound transformation and spiritual upheaval to post about it on social media. It's like the old saying, those who know don't speak, and those who speak don't know. The real deal is usually too sacred, too personal, and too transformative to be shouted from digital rooftops. Let me share something personal. In my life, I've seen hundreds of people who were convinced they'd found their twin flame. Out of those, maybe a handful were experiencing the real phenomenon. The rest were dealing with various other types of soul connections, karmic relationships, soulmates, intense romantic attachments. And here's the beautiful thing. These connections were no less valuable or meaningful just because they weren't twin flame relationships. It's like mistaking a powerful flashlight for the sun, as one of my mentors used to say. Both can light your way, both have their purpose, but they're fundamentally different in their nature and scope. This misidentification happens because we're all hungry for meaning, for divine connection, for something that transcends the ordinary. And sometimes that hunger can lead us to put spiritual labels on essentially human experiences. The irony is delicious, isn't it? We're living in an era where ancient spiritual concepts are being filtered through the lens of modern romance novels and social media. Suddenly, everyone's twin flame is their latest crush, and every intense emotional reaction is labeled as triggering my shadows. It's like we've created a spiritual version of fast food, quick, accessible, but missing the deep nourishment of the real thing. This widespread misidentification isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's part of our collective spiritual growing pains. Every person who mistakes an intense connection for a twin flame relationship is actually taking their first steps on a path of spiritual discovery. They're beginning to recognize that there's more to love and connection than what our materialistic society has taught us. If you're listening or reading this and suddenly questioning whether your twin flame connection is real, relax. The truth is, the label matters far less than what the connection is teaching you. Are you growing? Are you becoming more authentic? Are you learning to love yourself more deeply? These are the questions that truly matter. Remember, a genuine twin flame connection never needs to be forced, justified, or constantly validated. It's like gravity, it just is. You don't need to convince anyone of its existence, least of all yourself. It's not about finding someone who completes you or validates your spiritual journey. It's about encountering a connection so profound that it catalyzes your evolution, whether you want it to or not. So maybe it's time we all took a step back from the need to label every significant connection in our lives. Maybe it's okay to say, this relationship is deeply meaningful to me, and I'm learning and growing from it without needing to claim it as a twin flame connection. Because in the end, the mystery of human connection is far more beautiful and complex than any label we could put on it. known. The universe has a perfect plan for your spiritual evolution, and it doesn't need hashtags to make it happen. Your job isn't to figure out whether someone is your twin flame. It's to stay open to the lessons each connection brings, while maintaining enough discernment to distinguish between what's genuinely serving your highest good and what's simply serving your ego's need for spiritual specialness. Let me share something that might shake up everything you think you know about twin flame connections. They're not actually about romance at all. I know. This might sound like heresy in a world where we've turned the twin flame concept into some sort of spiritual dating app. But stick with me here, because what I'm about to tell you goes deeper than any romance novel could ever reach. Imagine you're watching a play, completely absorbed in the love story unfolding on stage. Suddenly, the curtain pulls back, revealing not just the stage, but the entire theater, the mechanisms behind the scenes, the architecture of the building itself. That's what a true twin flame connection does. It pulls back the curtain on reality itself, showing you that what you thought was the whole story was merely the opening act of something far more magnificent. I thought I was falling in love, a fellow seeker shared with me, her eyes shining with that peculiar light I've come to recognize in those who've glimpsed the deeper truth. Instead, I was falling awake. The romance was just the universe's clever way of getting my attention, like using a candy wrapper to catch a ray of sun. The real treasure wasn't the wrapper, it was the light itself. You see, we've been conditioned to view everything through the lens of romantic love. It's like we're wearing rose-colored glasses that turn every profound spiritual connection into a potential romance novel plot. But authentic twin flame connections? They operate on a frequency that makes ordinary romance look like a child's crayon drawing compared to a Van Gogh masterpiece. Here's what nobody tells you. The romantic aspects of a twin flame connection are often just the wrapping paper on a much more profound gift. It's like the universe knows we're all suckers for a good love story, so it uses that initial romantic attraction as a sort of spiritual bait and switch. You think you're signing up for an epic romance, but what you're really getting is a cosmic initiation into the deeper mysteries of existence. I've witnessed many individuals struggle with this truth. They look confused, sometimes even disappointed, because their twin flame connection isn't following the romantic script they expected. But shouldn't we be together? They ask. Isn't that the whole point? And that's when I have to break it to them gently. The point was never about creating the perfect romantic relationship. The point was about catalyzing the perfect spiritual awakening. Traditional romance is like learning to play a single instrument. A twin flame connection. It's like suddenly being able to hear the entire cosmic orchestra and realizing you're not just a player, you're also the music itself. The romantic aspects might still be there, but they're just one note in a much grander symphony. And here's something really wild. Some of the most powerful twin flame connections never manifest as romantic relationships at all. Shocking, right? But it's true. Because once you understand that these connections are about spiritual evolution, rather than romantic revolution, you begin to see how limiting it is to try to force them into the traditional relationship box. The love between twin flames is something that transcends our human understanding of romance. It's not about candlelit dinners and walking hand in hand on the beach, though those things might happen. It's about walking hand in hand with your own divinity, using the mirror of your twin's soul to see yourself more clearly than ever before. Listen closely, because this is important. If you're currently in what you believe to be a twin flame connection, try releasing all your romantic expectations for just a moment. What remains when you strip away all the hearts and flowers? What's at the core of this connection that has nothing to do with romance and everything to do with your soul's evolution? Sometimes the most profound love stories aren't about falling in love with another person at all. They're about falling in love with the divine within yourself, as reflected in the mirror of another soul. Your twin flame might be the catalyst, but you are both the alchemist and the gold. Remember this: the universe didn't design twin flame connections to give us perfect relationships. It designed them to push us toward perfect awareness. The romance might be part of the journey, but it's not the destination. The destination is a state of consciousness so vast and beautiful that it makes our original concept of love look like a tiny spark compared to the sun. And isn't that so much more magnificent than just another love story? Let me tell you about the most delicate tightrope walk in the spiritual world, the art of holding space for divine connection while keeping your feet firmly planted on Mother Earth. It's like being asked to simultaneously float like a butterfly and stand as steady as a mountain. Sounds impossible? Well, that's exactly the challenge that authentic twin flame journeys present us with. You know those moments when you're caught between the mystic and the mundane, when you're trying to reconcile your 3 a.m. spiritual downloads with your 9 a.m. Zoom meetings. That's where the real magic of the twin flame journey happens, not in some ethereal realm of pure spirit, but right here in the messy middle of human existence. I spent 2 years with my head in the clouds, confessed Emma, a spiritual teacher who now helps others navigate this delicate balance. I was so convinced that my twin flame connection meant I was somehow above ordinary human concerns. Then one day, my guide looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Honey, even angels need to pay their rent." It was the wake-up call I needed. Here's the thing about spiritual experiences that nobody talks about enough. The higher you soar, the more grounded you need to be. It's like flying a kite. The higher it goes, the stronger your stance on the ground needs to become. Twin flame connections operate on the same principle. They're not an escape from reality. They're an invitation to bring heaven down to earth. For my life, I've come to realize that the most profound transformations happen when people abandon their earthly lives for spiritual pursuit. But when they learn to weave both dimensions together, your twin flame connection is like having access to the most powerful spiritual Wi-Fi network imaginable. But what good is that connection if you can't download its wisdom into your everyday reality? What's the point of cosmic consciousness if you can't use it to navigate your human relationships, career choices, and personal challenges with greater awareness? The biggest trap, one of my mentors used to say, is thinking that spiritual connection means you get to bypass human experience. Your twin flame didn't show up to help you escape your life. They showed up to help you live it more fully. And isn't that the truth? The real mastery lies not in transcending our humanity, but in bringing our highest spiritual understanding into every human moment. Consider this. You wouldn't try to drive a car while looking only at the sky, right? The same principle applies to navigating twin flame connections. Yes, keep your vision elevated, but for heaven's sake, watch the road too. It's about maintaining that sweet spot between spiritual awareness and practical wisdom, between cosmic connection and earthly responsibility. I've seen many beautiful souls get lost in the ethereal aspects of their twin flame connection, using it as an excuse to avoid the very human experiences they came here to have. They're like butterflies who've forgotten how to land, constantly floating in spiritual ether while their earthly lives cry out for attention and integration. Here's a truth. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is be completely human. Sometimes the highest service to your twin flame connection is to focus on your career, heal your family relationships, or simply learn to pay your bills on time with gratitude. Because guess what? Everything is spiritual when you bring spiritual awareness to it. Your twin flame connection isn't meant to lift you out of your human experience. It's meant to help you dive deeper into it with greater awareness and love. It's about bringing heaven to earth, not escaping earth for heaven. Every practical step you take with consciousness becomes a spiritual act. Every mundane task you perform with awareness becomes a sacred ritual. You want to honor your twin flame connection? Start by honoring your human journey. Take care of your physical health. Be responsible with your finances. Show up fully for your relationships. Create something beautiful in the material world. These aren't distractions from your spiritual path. They're essential aspects of it. Remember, the goal isn't to become so spiritual that you can't function in the real world. The goal is to become so integrated that you can bring spiritual awareness into every aspect of your human experience. Your twin flame connection is meant to enhance your life, not replace it. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more grounded you become in your human experience, the more clearly you can channel the higher frequencies of your twin flame connection. It's like building a strong foundation for a skyscraper. The deeper and more stable the foundation, the higher the building can safely rise. So next time you're caught in the throes of twin flame intensity, ask yourself, how can I bring this energy down to earth? How can I translate these cosmic downloads into practical actions? How can I be both human and divine in this moment? Because ultimately, that's what this journey is all about. Not escaping our humanity, but fully embodying it with all the wisdom our spiritual connections provide. And isn't that the most beautiful magic of all? As we've explored throughout this discussion, the question of whether twin flame believers are simply experiencing unrequited love isn't one that can be answered with a simple yes or no. Like many aspects of human experience, especially those touching on spirituality and profound connection, the reality is far more nuanced. The most authentic twin flame experiences often come to people who weren't looking for them and, interestingly enough, had never even heard of the concept before their experiences began. These aren't individuals desperately seeking to label an unrequited love. Rather, they're often people trying to make sense of an inexplicable connection that turned their world upside down. But let's be real here. There's definitely a shadow side to this phenomenon. The twin flame concept has unfortunately become something of a spiritual bypass for some individuals, a way to justify staying stuck in painful patterns or obsessive attachments. And you know what? That's okay to acknowledge. We're all human, and sometimes we grasp at explanations that help us cope with difficult emotions. Here's what I believe is crucial to understand. Whether or not you believe in twin flames, the key lies in how these beliefs impact your growth and well-being. Ask yourself, is this connection pushing you toward genuine spiritual and personal development? Or is it keeping you stuck in patterns of dependency and unrealized potential? Moving forward, I encourage you to hold space for mystery in your life while maintaining a grounded perspective. Whether you're experiencing a twin flame connection, unrequited love, or something else entirely, your primary responsibility is to your own growth and well-being. And here's a final thought that I've found to be universally true. The most profound connections, whether they're twin flames or not, are those that inspire us to become better versions of ourselves. They challenge us to face our shadows, heal our wounds, and step more fully into our authentic power. If your connection is doing that, then perhaps the label matters less than the transformation it's catalyzing in your life. As you continue on your journey, remember that it's okay to sit with uncertainty. It's okay to question, to wonder, and to revise your understanding as you grow. The spiritual path isn't about having all the answers. It's about being open to the lessons each experience brings, while maintaining healthy boundaries and self-awareness along the way. Ultimately, whether you're dealing with a twin flame connection or unrequited love, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. Nurture that relationship first, and all other connections, whatever their nature, will fall into their proper place in your life's journey.